Welcome back to day 13 of our Clarity Challenge. We are on our last 2 days, and today, instead of just doing the last chapter of chapter 13 in my Created to Hear God journal, we're gonna pull it apart and do two specific moments. So today we're gonna talk about created for clarity and how you're uniquely designed, and tomorrow we're gonna talk about clarity for your future, for the unknown, and what's waiting for you. So stick with me, it's kind of part A, part B, but open up your Bible to Psalms 139, verse 14, 139, verse 14, and we're going to jump right in. These words are so powerful. They're one of my favorite. In fact, if you have time, you could read the entire Psalms 139 because it's got a ton of content on how you were created. It's one of those that I've often wept through, and really found a lot of hope in it. So 139, it says this, verse 14, I will praise you because I am remarkably and wondrously made. Your works are wondrous. I know this very well. In fact, pop over to verse 1 because it really begins to show you from the very beginning this beautiful Psalms about how each of us are unique to God. It says in verse 1, Lord, you have searched me and known me. You know when I sit down and when I stand up. You understand my thoughts from far away. You observe my travels and my rest. You are aware of all my ways. Before a word is on my tongue, you know all about it, Lord. You have encircled me. You have placed your hand on me. This wondrous knowledge is beyond me. It is lofty. I am unable to reach it. Jumping down to verse 13, for it was you who created my inner word parts. You knit me together in my mother's womb. And then we just jumped right back into verse 14. I will praise you because I am remarkably and wondrously made. Your works are wondrous and I know them well. Why is this so profound? Because what it really tells us is that there is a beautiful, intricate, and intentional design that each one of us have been given. And it emphasizes our uniqueness to God, how we were made. So we've been on this clarity challenge for 13 days, and it's been an awesome journey. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's really a one-part journey from what we did last year, which is Created to Hear God in the full book. And then this has really been about getting that content and that clarity in our lives. But what I've found is, no matter how many times we understand that we're a knower, seer, feeler, hearer, whether we have all four operating in our lives, there is no human being on the earth that is made just like the other. I'm an identical twin. And the truth is, even though I share DNA, even though my kids are technically her kids, DNA-wise, we have done everything the same for many years of our lives. We shared the womb before we shared the room, right? All of that still cannot change the fact that I am unique. I am tailor-made, designed by God uniquely to hear and interact with him in my own way. This is what I want to tell all of you, is that God is not going to speak to you like anyone else. He's going to speak to you in the way that he speaks to you because you have been divinely designed by him and for him. In fact, this verse reminds us that in the way that we hear God, it is not accidental, but it is purposely aligned with how he created us. That us hearing God isn't something that we have to put within us. It's something that's already within us. I shared this story before, but I'll share it again because it's the perfect way to kind of articulate what this looks like. But we purchased this car many years ago, and we had a plan to go camping, and we had a trailer hitch on the back of our other car. But when we got this new car, we thought there was a hitch on it and we forgot to even look for it. And we are a week out from going on this trip, and we go out and we realize, oh, we should see if there's a hitch on the back of this car. And we go out and we find there's no hitch. And it's confusing because it's a newer car. It's a SUV. It just seems odd that you wouldn't have it. And we did the math and looked online and found out it was going to cost hundreds of dollars to add a hitch to it. And so we kind of were in this slump of like, okay, we have this plan. It was going to be this much. Now we have this car. We thought it'd be perfect, but now we have to add a hitch, which is going to cost hundreds of dollars. So what are we going to do? And I remember Ben going to work, my husband, and I was sitting there, and all of a sudden I thought, this doesn't make any sense. There's got to be a hitch on this car. I don't know where it is, but there has to be one. And so I called Ben and we started having this conversation. And from what I remember, I'm trying to remember the whole thing. He said, I actually, honey, I think I remember, go out, get on the ground and look up under the car and see if you see anything. And when I got on the ground, I looked up, and under it all, there was hidden a hitch that you have to pop off this cover to find that hitch to pull it out and use it. And when I'm thinking about created to hear God, when I'm thinking about created for clarity, it is not something we have to add into our lives. Go pay, put it in the shop for a couple days so we can actually get this ability. No, within each of us, we are designed fearfully and wonderfully to interact with our Creator. We have a Creator God. He designed us to speak to Him, to talk to Him, to engage with Him. He has emotions. We have emotions. There is an intimate relationship that we are called to be in, and it's beautiful. But if you try to just put it in a formula, you're going to miss the point, because love and relationship are unique, and they're individual, and they're powerful, and they're exactly how God designed us. So I want you to embrace the truth that God has designed you to connect deeply with Him and to use your prophetic personality, not just as a means to an end, not just to get His words out there, but first, that interaction would be your love language, that you knowing that you know would speak love and connection, that your feeling would speak love and connection, that you would know that you're not just another human on the face of the earth, but you are His daughter. You are His son. You were designed for Him and by Him, and you will live with Him for all eternity. I will as well. And so part of that part of the powerful part of that picture is understanding that our prophetic personality is our love language, but it's also our ability to express love, the love of the Father, to others. It gives us the unique ability to give someone the heart, the words, the picture, the knowing that's in their Creator God's being, and it actually gives it to them. So we now have a God that feels, sees, knows, and hears us. And that's the profound gift of the prophetic personality. Do you have a book inside of you, but every time you start writing, it feels like too much? The blank page stares back, and the process, it feels overwhelming, and you're just left wondering, where do I even begin? Listen, you are not alone. Many aspiring authors stay stuck because they try to do it all at once without a clear, actionable plan. The results? Frustration, overwhelm, and another year wishing they had written their book. At Havilah's Author School, we take the chaos out of writing by breaking the process up into manageable, step-by-step milestones. Through weekly training sessions, hands-on writing exercises, and expert coaching, you'll learn how to move from brainstorming ideas to completing your first draft, all while staying motivated and focused. So stop spinning your wheels and wondering, how do I get started? Let us guide you every step of the way so you can finally write that book you've always wanted to write with confidence. Apply now at havilahsauthorSchool.com. That's havilahsauthorSchool.com. Class is starting soon, and the spots are limited. Don't miss your chance to make your book a reality. So let's unpack the hear together, right? H is to hear. So I want you to pause right where you are. And like I said, you can close your eyes, put your hand on your heart, but I want you to ask God to reveal more to you about how He uniquely speaks to you. I want you just to pray this under your breath. Lord, show me the way you've designed me to hear your voice. And I would even say any part of me that has misunderstood, belittled, discounted, Lord, reveal to me how you designed me, that I am not broken, I am different. And that's exactly how you designed me. And then I want you to reflect on the past 12 days that we've had together. You can journal this. This is a great way to journal some thoughts. But one of them would be, what patterns have you noticed on how you hear God? Have there been patterns in the last 12 days? And have you been able to see those patterns and witness His interaction? And then secondly, do you connect with Him mostly through words and visions or emotions or inner knowing, and whatever that might be? Just acknowledging that, but also being hungry to maybe grow in other areas and develop those other prophetic personalities. And then we're going to expect, right? The E. We're going to trust that God delights in speaking to you in a way that aligns with your personality. the diversity, the uniqueness of you. You don't have to change for God to use you. You don't have to change for God to interact with you. He knows what he got when he got you, and he's very proud of who you are. And so it doesn't mean that we don't surrender to him. It doesn't mean that we don't lean into him and ask what he's saying, but we don't have to change who we are to get God's attention. We already have his attention. And then we're going to acknowledge. We're going to acknowledge what God has done in the past 12 days, 13 days, almost. So we're going to journal some thoughts. You can journal maybe what you've learned from prophetic personalities. Are you a knower, seer, feeler, hearer? And if so, what kind of confidence does that give you? I mean, what has God been speaking to you? And then maybe another question you could journal is, how has God used your unique way of hearing to encourage or guide you and others? I mean, how has you hearing God's voice in your prophetic personality made you a better parent, made you a better daughter, made you a better wife, made you a better friend, a better leader, a better boss? If so, write that down. Take some time to experience that. And then we're going to respond. So I like to write out a declaration of gratitude to God. I often do this, and I'll just write it out or I'll speak it out. And I just think there's something about thanking God for the way that he created me, not being ashamed of it, but getting it out there and saying, God, thank you for making me the way you made me. And show me how to use the uniqueness that you've given me to bless the world and to bless you and to grow. And then also, I think it's important to commit to be a faithful steward of your prophetic personality. To not just say, I know that I'm this way or I'm that way. It's a strength. Okay, no big deal. But to say, God, I promise to embrace and steward this part of my life, that my knowing won't just be something that I shelve when I don't need it and bring it out when I do, but actually help me steward this, help me grow in this, help me be the healthiest knower everybody sees around them. Like if you're a feeler, let me be the healthiest feeler to my family, the healthiest feeler to my church, the healthiest seer in their lives, so that we can see that interaction with the divine as not a cumbersome or critical or controlling, but a powerful place in which we interact. And then lastly, we need to commit that we're going to grow in the areas that we need to grow. I mean, growth doesn't just happen on accident. We have to make commitments. And so I want to encourage you to actually sit down and make a commitment. How are you going to grow in this area? And I think that there's part of this reality that we can't grow what we hate or we dismiss or we ignore. Like we have to actually embrace it. So if there's a part of you that's been stepping aside, like I'm not spiritual enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not outgoing enough, whatever it might be, I want you to sit for a minute and I want you to unpack that, because that's going to hinder you from hearing God. If you've elevated somebody else or you've diminished what you have, or you somehow think it has to come a certain way, and yet God is saying, I'm unique, you're unique, I know what I'm doing, trust me. And so just sitting and saying, okay, God, I trust you to help me build this out. In fact, I would ask God simply this after your journaling: what is one thing I can do for the next month, every single day, to grow this in my life? Whatever that might be, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's keeping your vision board in front of you like we talked about. Maybe it's getting those words written out and posted on your mirror, your dashboard, or somewhere else. Maybe it's the healing, guarding your heart, and maybe you have a certain song you listen to every morning and you clean your heart out because you say, for the next 30 days, I'm going to keep my heart pure. Or maybe it's a humility in knowing that you're going to go to that prayer meeting every single week because you know you need others and you need his voice, and you want to show dependency on him and dependency on his words. All right, you guys, that's it. Tomorrow we will finish off on our clarity challenge. You don't want to miss it. It's your next steps for clarity in the unknown. All right, see you soon.